Hey there friends, welcome back to our JRPG tutorial series. In the last episode we nailed down some of those classic JRPG style scene transitions from trigger zones to spawn points to fade-ins. Today we're diving into something super exciting, the combat system. We'll create our very first battle scene, hook it up to a trigger in the overworld, and build a foundation for our turn-based battle system. Think walk into a monster or random battler, screen fades to black, and boom, combat begins. So, let's jump in. This is just a preview of what you're going to expect. The scene transition isn't built into this one yet. I just wanted to show you basically the concept for just the testing. We're starting out in our dungeon or whatever forest or dungeon area you created for yours. We're going to walk up to a trigger. It's going to go to this blank scene for now, but then it's going to go back to our battle scene. We're doing this because we're just testing things now. We'll probably change it to a more randomized battler, or if you prefer like the Legend of Zelda 2, the Link, what was it? What was that game called? The Adventure of Link. Then I guess you could do the monsters just in the overworld with you, moving back and forth periodically thing. But for us, I think in this one we'll end up changing it to be more randomized. So, alright, let's get into y'all's project so we can get this going. Alright, so here we are in our project. Let's go to our dungeon and go to 3D so we can see what's going on here. So right now we just have kind of our world. We can run around in it, but nothing really goes on. We're going to change that a little bit by creating first our battle trigger. So let's click on world. We're going to right click, go to add child node. We're going to add an area 3D. We're going to go ahead and press F2 to change the name to battle trigger. And again, for testing, we're using triggers to go into the battle scenes. There's not enemies. There's not going to be any actual combat coding yet. All this is doing is just setting up the skeleton so that we can create all those main mechanics in the combat system, and then we can implement the random battling afterwards. So let's see. Going from here, we're gonna right click on battle trigger and add a child node, and this is gonna be a collision shape. You can use a box, you can use a sphere. I'm going to use a sphere shape 3D and then just increase the size some. I'm going to click that up and raise it slightly. That might be a little more than slightly. So let's go ahead and just get into place. And then now we can bring that down. Alright, so I don't want any of my environment triggering this. I made it large enough so that the player can't accidentally miss it, but I don't want the environment to be able to trigger it. So you have a couple options. You can shrink it down if you want, something about like that. Or if you really want to just be like a better safe than sorry deal, you can come over here into your inspector, change the collision layer to be layer 2 and the mask to be layer 1, and then for your player just add that they're in theirs that they can also interact with mask number 2. That'll tell them that whatever's on layer 2, for example these battle triggers, the player will be able to interact with. Once you have that Then let's go ahead and get some of that part coded, shall we? Actually, no. What do we do first? What do we want to do first? Let's do the game state. So we'll do the game state next, and then we'll do the battle scene, and then we'll do the scripts that have to do with the battle scene. That's how we'll do it. All right. So what we're going to do is down here in your scripts folder under File System, you're going to go to Systems, right click, go to Create New, and then Script, and then this one is going to be called Game State, and then press Create. Go ahead and double click on that, and this one is going to be very easy. All we're going to put in there is a vector 3, and that vector 3 is going to say variable return position vector 3 equals vector 3 dot 0. For right now, this is just being used to store the position of the player, because if we don't, then what's going to happen is when we go back to our scene from our normal scene, dungeon scene, he'll start back at the original spawn point for it. Alright, from here, let's go ahead and get our battle scene together. What we're gonna do is let's go ahead and create a new scene, 3D scene. I'll go ahead and name this node battle scene. Add a child node, and we're gonna go add a node 3D. We're gonna name this by pressing F2, and it's gonna be called Battle Manager. And then click back on Battle Scene. We're gonna add a child node. It's gonna be a marker 3D, and it's gonna be another marker 3D. This one is going to be player spawn point. This one's going to be the enemy spawn point. And then let's go ahead and press Control S to save it. Go into our scenes, battle, and press save. Let's click on our battle scene. No, battle manager, and we're gonna go ahead and for now, what we're gonna do is just create a timer. That's what we'll do. So let's add a script. We're gonna go to our scripts folder so that we know where it's battle, and then we're gonna leave it battle manager as the name, and press open, and then press create. Now in this script, what we're gonna do is create a public variable, name it overworld scene path. It's gonna be of type string, and it's gonna be equal to, we're gonna put some quotation marks, and then we're gonna find our scene for the dungeon. We're gonna right click and choose copy path, come back up here and click in between those quotation marks, and just press Control V to paste that in. And then for now, we're not going to do anything with the process, but what we are going to do is we're going to say in ready, we're going to say wait, get tree dot create timer, and we're going to have it for 3 seconds, and then time out, and then get tree dot change scene to file. We're going to say overworld scene path. Alright, what this is going to do, What this is going to do is it's going to, once we go into the battle scene here, then it's going to wait for 3 seconds, and then, or the timer's going to start after 3 seconds. It's going to run this code, which is going to take us back to our dungeon point. So Control S to save that. Something I haven't done that I forgot to do is we need to make the game state a singleton. So let's go to project settings, globals. We're gonna come up here to path and click on the folder. Go to your game state, which should be in your scripts systems folder. Click on game state and press open, and then go ahead and add that in. For me, I'm gonna put that on top because that's gonna eventually be holding more things and doing more things and controlling a lot more. So I want that to run first. After that, I think, what should we do next? I guess let's set up our battle UI. So let's go ahead and instantiate that into our battle scene first. UI, battle UI. This is the real rinky-dinky one that we made in the beginning of the series. So let's go to a scene and 2D so we can see what it looks like. Alright, so this is all it is. So we're gonna spruce that up some. First thing we're gonna do is we're inside of here. We're gonna add a let's go ahead and take off the script because we'll probably end up redoing that most likely. So but at least let's get the actions together. So in our UI, we're gonna go ahead and what are we gonna do? We're gonna add a child node. We're gonna add a panel container. Let's go ahead and stretch that out, and then center it like so. We can drag our HP label in there. We can also add, actually, not a child node. We'll just duplicate this. Control D. One of these will be label. One will be HP. One of these will be name. Player name. And then player HP. There we go. And because this is an RPG, rename player MP. There we go. Alright. I'll adjust those settings. Now we'll do it now. Alright. We'll say, for now we're just gonna say name because that's the name. HP is fine. MP, we'll just say MP. And 10. Let's see, MP. We'll just go 5. What is your favorite class to play as in JRPGs? Do you like the more tanky characters? Do you like some of the more using more spell-based party? Like if we're looking at Final Fantasy IX, so say Vivi, Garnet. Do you like having some of them in your party, or would you prefer the more tanky characters like to accompany Zidane, like Steiner, or Freya as a dragoon, right? So let me know in the comments. Alright, but back to our task at hand. Inside our panel container, we need to add a VBox. So right click on panel container. You can either press Control A or add child node. And we're gonna look for, do we want a VBox? Let's see. Yeah, we want a VBox container. And we're gonna actually drop all 3 of these into it. like so. Let's go ahead and shrink down our little guy right here. So with our panel container, so there's a few things, right? Unfortunately, you can't adjust. Actually, let's go ahead and let's put it here for now, and then we're gonna into this. Oh, too far. Like that. All right. You can't adjust the transforms of the children objects, but what you can do is change the container sizing, and so we'll be doing that in a minute. The first thing I had to do is add some buttons. So click on VBox container, press Ctrl A. Look for a button. This one is gonna be attack. And then let's duplicate it. Actually, before we duplicate it, let's add another container box first. So what we're gonna do is actually we'll just duplicate this one. Duplicate the VBox container. Let's delete that attack button from there, and we're gonna delete these three labels from here. There we go. All right. This VBox container, let's go ahead and just bring it over so we can see it. Go to layout in your inspector. We're gonna go to container sizing. We're gonna shrink to the end, and then we're gonna say shrink begin. Hold on. Why did that not create right? Maybe not. All right, we may not be able to. We may have to create it like new. So let's go ahead and do it. That's a new one. That's fine. Add child node, VBox container, and we're gonna add our three buttons here. So we need a button. We need to duplicate that button. But let's go ahead and that's gonna be our attack button. Oops. Attack up top. Let's see. Down below we got defend. There should probably be an item or a magic. Let's see. We'll say magic for now. Actually, it's a barbarian, so maybe it should be a skill. Skill. That's what we'll say. And then defend. Item. And then when he wants to get out of dodge, we'll have a flee. There. Alright, so this is what we got so far. So with our VBox container for the first one, we're going to go to horizontal, shrink begin, vertical, shrink begin. Actually, no. We'll probably fill that. I don't know if we're going to need anything else. So, for right now, I'll leave it filled, but I don't think we're going to need anything else on that side. If we don't, then I'll come back and I'll shrink it later. For VBox container 2, we're going to go ahead and go to the same thing. Inspector, layout, container sizing, horizontal fill will be shrink to end, and then we're going to have fill for the vertical. We could probably, let's see. Yeah, we're going to go shrink to end. Alright, for our panel container, we can go ahead and change the size of that by shrinking it down. We'll say 250, 200. Yeah, that works. Alright. And then if we add more players to our party, then that'll be a good size to our boom, boom, boom. Alright, so we're good. Alright, let's see. I'm actually just gonna prep for that and say player container. I'm going to create a second container, and this time I'm just going to duplicate this because this one will work. Hopefully. We're going to say enemy container. We're going to find out. I'm going to hold shift and just drag this over so that lines up, but there's still some space. Something like that. I don't need this container because we're not controlling the enemy. Typically you don't see the enemy HP right off the bat, so we're just going to say to enemy name. And then here, just so we can differentiate, enemy name. There we go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need. I don't think so. I think that about does it here. So now if we go to our battle scene, there's not going to be a whole lot going on, but let's run it. And there's the updates. There we go. And our buttons. Alright. So, you saw that the timer, it switched automatically to, and you saw us talking about how it changes to the default position. We'll fix that. Don't worry.